Well, it's time for another weekly update. I think this was going to be relatively short. I want to give an update on what I've read, what I've gotten to read, and I can talk about some thrift hauls that I ended up picking up, but we'll do that as a separate episode during the week because there's other thrift jumps that I'm going to be doing on Tuesday and Wednesday. Anyways, let's just get into it so that I'm not talking all ambiguous stuff in the first 30 seconds of this. And after last week's update, I ended up reading Junji Ito's Remina, which was not on my TBR, my to be read list, but I figured I really wanted to get some more Junji Ito done, and I had some time in the evening, and I wanted to just kind of cut through something, and so I did, and I was not anticipating what this one was all about. Now, the motif of this one, it looks like it's like a big planet coming towards the Earth. Looks like the planet has a big kind of tongue. I mean, not kind of, it is. It's kind of like a hell planet with a tongue, and it goes around and gobbles up other planets. Imagine if you're a Marvel fan, this would be the Galactus of the Junji Ito universe. It just goes around and slurps planets out of existence. That's pretty much literally it, and that's, I guess, what I want to talk about a little bit with Junji Ito and his books. Like, I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. It was not my favorite read of his so far in terms of horror. It was relatively short, as you can see, but it was very shallow. It was very light. It was a lot of the concepts in here were very surface level concepts. I guess that's what shallow means, I suppose. It didn't have any real depth behind. That's what shallow means. Yeah, no, all of those words and all of those meanings is kind of how I felt about this. There were concepts at play that seemed like a note on a sticky note, and then he turned that whole thing into what this became. Is it still a story? Yes. Does he still do beginning, middle, and ends? Yes. Ish. And then the character development wise, I was like, is there character development? That's where I think it took a hit for me. Not really. And that's where the shallow part of it comes into play. I didn't feel like the Remina is both the planet and the female character here, who's the daughter of a scientist who discovers this planet way out there in the void, and then it starts to go faster than light speed towards our solar system and gobbles up planets and then reaches Earth. And that's kind of the beginning of what this all devolves into. To give you a little bit more premise, because it's going to matter to the criticism here, the daughter of the scientist here, she was born at the same time that effectively they discover this planet, because it was 16 light years away. So science. She gets a fan club because she becomes famous because of this, but then because this planet comes at rapid speed to Earth and starts gobbling up planets along the way, everyone starts freaking out, and they blame this Remina and her father for this Remina's the fear of being taken out of existence by this Remina. It's like high concept Junji Ito kind of weirdness, which is what makes his tales. It's the weirdness of them, not so much the horror at times. Imagine K-pop. Imagine she was a K-pop star, and then all of a sudden a planet. No, this is going to be a weird metaphor, and it doesn't matter. Okay? The point is that level of fame, but it completely twists around, and everyone who loved Remina, this Remina, ends up blaming her for this Remina, and then they want to take out her and her father. That's pretty early on. I'm not really spoiling anything because the entire premise of this and the de-evolution of humanity in literally the last, like, you got probably hours left of life. I'm not sure if this even went days. I can't remember. I actually can't remember because I ripped through this. But it was pretty much as soon as Remina got here and started licking the planet, it was pretty much game over for the entire planet. But humanity just kind of unravels. And it's just like mobs and mobs after this Remina to wanting to kill her. But not just kill her. It's like it starts to go into sort of torture porn territory for a bit. And I'm like, what is this is like, it's excessive and gratuitous in a way that wasn't really adding more value to the story. And I think that's where it started. Like, I started docking points because I just wasn't seeing why it had to devolve to the degree that it devolved, because it was like a bunch of, again, notes on yellow sticky notes. Like it's a bunch of notes on like these things that maybe 2 or 3, 4 of them, and then it's just they all kind of combine together. It didn't really make the story robust. Does that make sense? Like, it just sort of, and then by the time it gets to the last quarter, like the act 3, it's just like, what is even happening now? It's like it goes into the absurd. I would say the territory of not so, like, horror's gone away at this point. Science fiction is all throughout this thing, but it's like absurdist science fiction when because the licking happens and the planet's spinning so fast that effectively people are flying for, like, I guess hours. I'm not even sure. Time is like lost because gravity. Listen, it was just weird. It was out there. The ideas are carrying the entire story. Every part that happens in this maybe happened longer than it needed to, but the parts that needed to be given more time, they weren't given time at all. If that makes sense. I don't want to spoil like parts of this. If you were gonna read it, like I don't want to give away the parts that there's like only 3 or 4 things that are like moments where you're like, oh damn, you know. And so if I ruin those, then I kind of ruin all of Remina. Anyways, there you go. Not my favorite of the Junji Ito so far. Probably my least favorite. If this was on a tier list, this was probably at the bottom. Frankenstein would have likely been on the bottom, not because it was bad, but because it wasn't the Junji Ito I would have expected. It felt very proto Junji Ito, and I had just read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and it was effectively Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in Junji Ito manga form without Junji Ito's art style. And so that's why okay, it's getting long-winded. The point is this is not my favorite, and so we'll see what other Junji Ito novels bring into the mix. And this went way longer than I anticipated. I thought this was going to be short. We're going to move on. I got a gift, George Orwell's 1984. I got this edition, which is really nice. It's got this like this harder, not harder, it's like thicker paper, but it feels like it's like cardboardy on the surface. I really like the design of this one. I just read the whole War of the Worlds one. It was a little bit of a bigger book, but it had the same sort of texture on it. But this one is not part of that series. It's a different series, and I saw a picture there, right here. I did read Animal Farm. I actually really, really like Animal Farm, but it looks like Animal Farm is part of the series, and I might look it up because I love the design of this. It looks so cool. And so 1984, strangely enough, has been on my mind for the last couple months. I mean, I was like, I don't know why that might have been. I mean, I probably do know why. I've been thinking about these things, but I'm not going to get into it. But I mean, this is in a perfect condition book. I forgot to ask her like where she picked this up. I don't think it was from a thrift shop because it's a perfect book. So yeah, I'm looking forward to actually jumping into this one sooner than later. I'll probably try to get to this before the end of the year, to be honest. It might be in the December TBR because I mean, I'm familiar with it. Obviously, I read this back in high school, I think, or parts of it back in English. So that would have been, again, to age myself, we're talking, that would have been 30 years ago. Okay, so anyways, I'm looking forward to reading this again because I forget 90% of this. I remember those like 2 or 3 very key scenes. Anyways, looking forward to this, and I really love the design. And then I got this one a little bit late from my mom. She picked this up at a thrift shop for 50 cents. There's this place called Crazy Bins around here, and like every day that happens in the week, like the price comes down. I forget the actual the way that works, but by the time you get to the end of the week, it's like whatever's left over, and it's like basically nothing, right? But it's all 50 cents. It used to be $1, and now they are competing with other thrift markets or something like that out there. Anyways, the point is, they were 50 cents, and on Halloween-ish kind of week, she ended up picking this up, and she's like, so there's always books there, but I don't know what to pick up. I don't know what you like. And I'm like, look, if it's horror and it's like an anthology, pretty much a safe bet if we're talking about 50 cents for $1. You know what I mean? She picked up this one, Graveside Owl. I'm not sure what owl represented. I was like, was Owl the dog? I'm not sure. Anyways, I read the back cover here, or the flap here. What the hell did I read? And so there's this veteran CBC announcer and award-winning broadcaster, Alan, I'm just going to read it this way, Alan Maitland, popularly known as Fireside Al and Front Porch Al. So I guess dude was a storyteller. So I assumed it was like an anthology of stories that maybe Al wrote. Well, not quite, because then I read the back cover here and I actually got more excited. I was kind of like, oh, there's kind of like a little, like a children horror book, and I don't mind. I love reading children horror books, actually. I've got a few of them. It turns out, no, it looks like it's a collection of stories, if you can tell there. So Edgar Allan Poe on The Love of Sherry, Anne Rice on Blood Relations, Charles Dickens on Ghost Revenge, Saki on Adopting a Werewolf, that sounds like fun, Robert Louis Stevenson on The Trade in Corpses, Patricia Highsmith on Snails, Nathaniel Hawthorne on Voices at Dusk, Algernon Blackwood on Apparitions in the Fog, Emile Zola on A Ghost Named Angeline, and William Faulkner on Rat Poison, Lucy Maud Montgomery on The Ghosts of Lost Love. Anyways, anyone familiar with most of these? I'm familiar with the authors, probably half of these authors. I'm not sure I'm familiar with Anne Rice's short stories and stuff like that, so I'm kind of looking forward to digging into this more than I would have anticipated I would have been, because I put this aside because I was like, I don't know when I'm going to get to this, and I don't know why it's necessary, but it's got a bookmark. I don't know why you need to have that, but hey, you know what, it adds a little bit of class. Anyways, that's all I have to say about this one. I'm kind of surprised, just a surprise poll that I didn't talk about in my past updates, and I was organizing some stuff around here, bam, just talked about it because I probably want to read this sooner than later as well, because hey, it's an anthology, and sometimes I gotta throw these into the mix. Little short reads that start and boom, put it down, but the story's done, you know, that kind of thing. So that's going to be good. So quick update on the week is that I ended up taking 4 days off this week, thinking that I was going to be doing both like a read marathons. I was going to be doing like video game marathons. I had all these plans to do. No, I actually got a bunch of physical labor work done instead of the stuff that I wanted to take the break for, but it was important. I talked about in the last update that I was doing a lot of chainsawing. Well, one of my other trees split in half, so I had to like cut that thing apart before winter. So I did a lot of chainsaw action, which you know, I'm kind of enjoying, but I'll keep that update short. But in any case, my shoulder blades and back are pretty destroyed right now. So I just wanted to like sit and relax and read, but I didn't get much of that done because I got this new van, and so I was like, well, let's just go to storage. Let's clear this thing out. So I went Tuesday to storage, wrecked myself, and then I went back on Friday to storage, further wrecked myself, but the storage is now clear. So my storage unit is finally empty. I can basically stop paying for that unit because I'm now at this house and I'm going to be staying at this house. So I figured just bring everything back. I can save that money and I can put that into the new car's payments, you know what I mean? And then it's one less thing I gotta worry about. I went on the thrift shop run on Friday night before going to that storage haul, and like I talked about at the beginning of this episode, I ended up finding a bunch of novels by this guy called Ian Rankin. Now this isn't one of them. This is a graphic novel that I've had in my collection for about, I don't know, 10 years. I forget when this got released, but I have the entire run of John Constantine. Okay, so it's I know there's a movie, if you're more familiar with like the movie with Keanu Reeves, right? So that's based on the comic books by Vertigo Comics or DC Comics. It's a character, not to get too deep into it, the point is I've seen this name. I've seen this name for a very long time as I organize my shelves and put things away into boxes in storage and take them out. And I keep seeing this Ian Rankin. And the reason why this one stands out is because this is not the same size as a normal graphic novel. Do I have any of my trades around here at all? So to give you an idea here, right? Like this is a standard graphic novel size. This is a graphic novel by Ian Rankin for the Hellblazer series. So this thing is in my collection of graphic novels that are this size. Okay, so it's just weird. It's awkward. So Ian Rankin stood out to me. So I started seeing a bunch of Ian Rankin books at these thrift shops, and this one in particular, I got kind of lucky because it's the first 3 novels that the author has written, or at least I think there was one before this called The Flood. I'm not sure. Anyways, I had to look him up just to see like what I might be missing in the series. He's got a lot of books. He's got an extreme amount of books. Anyways, I don't want to talk about the entire haul here, but I got a pretty good stack of Ian Rankin. The thing is, I recall seeing a bunch of Ian Rankin books at the Ottawa thrift shop, at the Kingston thrift shop, and at the other thrift shops around me. So I'm going to be hitting 2 more of those thrift shops this week because I got to go into the office this week and it's out of town, and it's right beside one of these thrift shops. And then I got to go to my eye surgeon again to do a checkup appointment because of the 2 surgeries, and that's on Wednesday, and it's right beside one of these thrift shops. So I'm going to do all of these together. I know nothing about Ian Rankin. I hope he's good because I splurged. I got a pretty good stack, and they're all in pretty decent condition like this. I know I said I wasn't going to be talking about this. This one's got some bowed, like some flared out corners and stuff like that. But you know what, man? It's 3 of the first novels, and at least I can like get a sense of Ian Rankin if I jump into him. It was in the mystery spy section, which are the shelves I avoid when I go to these thrift shops because I don't know what to look up for mystery and spy fiction, nor do I really have this inclination to really like, I don't know if I'll enjoy it. I've just never really read it and never gotten into it. So if anyone is familiar with Ian Rankin and you have any thoughts to share, please do. Yeah, because I ended up putting these on a spreadsheet to make sure I track like what books I have and which ones I still need to buy for the collection. And it's a lot. It's a lot of them. So let me know if he's good. And so I will talk about the other books that I got in the haul, and then we'll see what I pull in Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'll get back to you and we'll do a big run of that. I'm doing the one thing while it's entertaining for me and others for me to do the one thing. And then I can deviate and pivot as needed so that I can explore other things and find inspiration that moves me along and hopefully does the same for others along the journey, right? The journey here is like, it's to explore. It literally is. It's explore, engage, and inspire for a reason, but it's I really need to live by that and turn this channel into more of be the culmination of my identity to some degree. And I need to let it be what it wants to be. And I'm not really thinking about it in terms of like what growth means, quote unquote, right? It's there's a little vlog at the end here, but I didn't think I would be doing it, but here we are concluding with this kind of thing. But it's the idea of just taking chances and not really feeling like you have to be something or do something a certain way, is that you always have the opportunity to pivot and change course. And you shouldn't feel restricted at all, because freedom is always in your control. So that's what this experience is for me, especially going into 2025. So I hope to see you all there, of course, and I'll be back next week with another update, because even if I just want to sleep like I did today, I'm like, I am so tired right now, but I need to record this weekly update. At least like I need to get this cadence going. so that when I hit 2025, it's actually something that feels like part of my schedule. And so I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you very much for checking this out. I'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to explore, engage, and inspire, everybody. Peace.